So in my long life, I've had a lot of music has been a big influence and factor in my life. From the moment I picked up an AM radio and listened to the top 40, and amazingly, my life experiences have allowed me to cross paths with Francis Ford Coppola, Gregg Allman, the Doobie Brothers, Harry Belafonte, all of this in the capacity of I used to do custom audio, video, smart home, whole house audio, and I was hired by all of these people to work in their homes. Like Francis Ford Coppola, although not a rock star, was a famous movie producer, and he had a 3-story home in like an 1850s, 1860s 3-story Victorian in Rutherford. And we got hired to do the audio video, and I was there for many, many weeks, just lots of drilling and pulling wire and creating a head end, what have you. But there were several days when he was on site, and he would be in the room as I'm doing my stuff. And one time I asked him about this beautiful, little tiny, like a little secretary, a little antique desk. Just had a nice little conversation about it. These are brilliant people, but they're just human like you and me, right? They have wants, needs, and desires, and so that was very interesting. Another one, I got called one day to install a satellite dish for Gregg Allman of the Allman Brothers. One of my favorite songs growing up was a song called Jessica. It's an instrumental. And so this circle of life when I'm 17, listening to the Allman Brothers, to be 47, hang on, to be roughly 40 years later. 45 years, maybe, something like that. Anyway, I get a service call order. Next thing you know, I'm at the front door of Gregg Allman. Knock on the door, boom, there he is. And in my day, I used to have long blonde hair, long down my back. I used to get confused for him all the time. People used to kid me, hey, you look like Gregg Allman. So I spent the day hooking up a satellite, running that all up, and then at the very end, running him through the operations of, press this button, do this, blah, blah, blah. When I got there, when I knocked on the door, introduced myself, told him about the work I was going to do. He goes, hey, man, you want to smoke a joint? I said, no. I would have loved to have smoked a joint with Gregg Allman. But the best little part of that whole story is after the job was over, we're just conversing a little bit before I left. And I said, yeah, you were married to Cher, right? He goes, yeah. He says, I used to call her Toots all the time. She hated being called Toots. Hey, Toots. So that to me has always made me chuckle every time I think about it. Another famous person I worked for was Jon Stewart of the Kingston Trio. Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. He had a hit with Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, called Gold. So I show up at his house, and he's retired. He's at the end of his life. Him and his wife had health issues, and I believe they're both passed now. But I show up, I knock on the door, introduce myself. I'm going to install your satellite system, blah, blah, blah. He goes, okay, I want 2 receivers, living room and master bedroom, which was a typical install, two receivers, 2 wires off the dish. So as we're going upstairs to his bedroom, on the wall, up, you go up one stairs, you'd hang it, on the landing, and then you go back up the other direction at the other angle. On that upper wall, as you're going up, gold records. And the one for Daydream, he wrote Daydream Believer for the Monkees, right? And I go full circle again. I said I grew up watching the Monkees, and the fact that I'm here with you, I'm in my head, I'm thinking all this, but I go, I used to watch the Monkees. I know Daydream Believer. He goes, yeah. He kind of chuckled. He goes, yeah. that song bought me a couple of houses. And so it was just another amazing day with just another fellow human. But you hear all these cool little stories about, you know, their life and their experience. It was a very cool day. Very, very, very wonderful day. The last one I'll talk about is me and my boss drove to Novato, North Novato, out in the nice area, big houses, and knock on the door, and it's Tom Johnston of the Doobie Brothers, China Grove and Old Blackwater, and so he's having his house completely remodeled. So next thing you know, I'm walking around with my hero, my rock and roll hero. How many times did I smoke a joint? Listening to Blackwater. It's a 17-year-old. So here I am again, 45 years later. I'm now the guy, the alpha male, if you will, as I show him what we will be doing, where he wants things, how we will be doing, and you know, again, life's a circle. So trying not to fanboy out when you see these people, but it was just, you know, that was a several-week job. I was constantly going to him because he was on site doing business out of his office there, and had several other contractors, and you always have to make decisions when you're doing a huge remodel of a house that size. It was just exciting to be around. I loved every minute of it. Anyway, thanks for listening. Talk to you later.